Like my relationship with the plant is very personal. Like every plant is different, every plant has a story, and my job is to create the conditions so that every plant can express at its best. I'm Chiara, I'm 34 years old, and I'm a wine producer here in Predappio, where I grow Sangiovese, the native variety from here, and my little winery is called like me, Chiara Condello. We have to walk till the top, to my vineyards. So we are going to walk until my highest parcel. From here you can see the true sides of my wines, because my wines are made of a big contrast. They are born from the mountains and they are born from the sea. Here we are exactly in between the Apennine mountains. You see, the Apennine are these mountains that are basically dividing Emilia-Romagna from Tuscany. While if you look at the other side, it is the most warm part. Today is a little bit foggy, so you don't see the sea. We cannot see the sea. They tend to be a balance in between these two opposite and different aspects. These are the hills of my childhood. I always came here. It's also something that is astonishing me every day I see it, because it's also changing a lot depending on the season. So now we have the flowering, just a few weeks ago we had the snow. It's evolving and it's an alive place. It's a place full of energy. We just let every parcel, every place to keep its soul.
We just finished to do the pruning a few weeks ago, actually last week, and now we are doing all the works before the beginning of the vegetation time. I'm Alessandra. I'm an enologist and winemaker, and I work here with Chiara at Chiara Condello Winery since the beginning of the winery, so 2015. This is a very important vineyard for Chiara because it's one of the youngest that she has, but it can give something different in terms of aromas and work in the vineyard. This one here is clay soil full of nutrients. It's more full of iron, and roots are not so deep as in the rocky soils.
This is a little piece of spungone, so it's the rock which is characterizing my vineyards, and it is a rock that originates 3 million years ago when the sea, the Adriatic Sea, moved away from that hills. So now it's a rock that is on the surface in my vineyards, especially in Le Lucciole parcel, which is a rock that is strongly characterizing that parcel and my wines.
I am very proud, but I'm sure that Chiara more, because that is her project. So I'm very proud of what we did in the past, and hopefully will be also better in the future.
I think we always call her Lala. I remember to see her like the day she was born. You know, Lala is precious to me because we grew up together as a child. I have a total blind confidence in her, in what she do, and plus we share a lot. We've seen the winery grow from the beginning. So when you share also the beginning of something, so you share the difficulties, you share the problems, you share the bad time, then it's also good that then you share also the results and the positive things.
She's my boss, but I prefer to say friends. When I speak about her with other people, I don't say, yes, my boss told me. Say, Chiara told me.
I don't want to think about my winery without Lala. No, I don't want even to think about it. Here in Predappio, we had the first written law about the wine production that dates back 1383. So when you have the chance to work in a place that has such a huge tradition about winemaking, you want to preserve them. And you also have, I think, the moral obligation to continue that traditions. That's also why, for example, I just grow Sangiovese, which is the native kind of grapes that I have here in Predappio. Here we are entering where I have my wines, where I age my wines in the big barrel. Wine is pure, is precise, is full of emotions and full of energy. Traditions are your roots. The tradition was growing up with my grandfather, respecting the way he was making wine and trying to continue, preserve and give value to the way the things were made.
The real Sangiovese, the fruitiness of the Sangiovese, the soft tannins, the complexity of the wine, but at the same time the balance between the acidity, the tannins and the aromas. The wines are, I think, the reflection of what Chiara is.
I like the structure, it's a beautiful structure and the pure fruit. This is harvest 2022 is starting. Here you see that there are the new leaves start opening up, and here inside there is already the potential of all the vintage already, the grapes, everything is already closed. Here is like secret box where all the plants already knows everything about what's going to happen. I'm really worried about the climate change because I'm seeing even from my childhood till now how the weather changed. But for example, I find some notes that my grandfather wrote about 40 years ago. He picked the grape later than me, and the grapes had less alcohol than mine now. It has been a huge changement just in the past few years. Imagine in a longer term. And the fact is that these changes are going more and more fast. The more the soil broke, the more the heat go down, the more the roots are exposed to the heat, to the warm, and the more difficulty they have to find some water. They always need to go more deep, but sometimes the soil doesn't allow them to go more deep as they are. So then the plants are suffering. The change that we are facing in the climate is affecting not only the viticulture, but it's affecting all the production. And that results in a disaster, as we are now, basically. As a winemaker, I have to fight to protect the traditions. I have to fight to protect the old parcel. I have to fight to protect the native grape. It is a heritage of my culture, of my family, protecting what's unique. I'm just the last step in a very long tradition. Producing my first wine was a big emotion. Well, it's my first vintage, so it is and it will always be a little bit the one of the heart, because it's the first vintage, so it always will have a special place. And it is a Le Lucciole, which is the single vineyard, the most important one for me. So all the bottles that I have, I try for every vintage not to sell all the bottles, but to keep a part of the bottles for me in the cellar. We have vintage 15 here, we have Le Lucciole 16, we have Le Lucciole 17, very small, and then we have Le Lucciole 18, which is actually the current vintage now. This is my memory library, let's say, so it's like opening a book. Tomorrow I'm going to Bologna to an event, which is an event I am really curious to go because it's the first time that it has been done. I have prepared the bottles for tomorrow. I'm going to bring them to the fair. All the people that are there tomorrow, they are people that commit themselves in producing wine in 3 ways. So to produce a good wine, a clean wine, and responsible wine. And to me, be at that event, it is important because it's giving the message that to me producing wine is also having the responsibility of the way it is produced. I look forward to meet a lot of other producers that I love and that are good friends.
Ciao! Bene, tu?
Molto bene, tu?
Bene, bene, bene.
To be together with them, to taste a lot of beautiful wines. Because when I'm at wine fair, I'm not only pouring the wines, but I'm also tasting the wines. Let's see if something incredible happens tomorrow.
Allora, io sono a Predappio. Predappio è sull'Appennino, sul primo Appennino, vicino a Forlì. Predappio è una zona storica di produzione di Sangiovese, quindi la varietà che si è sempre coltivata è quella, motivo per cui io faccio solo Sangiovese e faccio 2 vini. Quindi sono 2 Sangiovesi in purezza. Il grosso della differenza è che il Predappio mio classico nasce da 3 vecchie vigne, quindi vigne che hanno dai 40 ai 50 anni, piantate su argille, per cui matrice dei terreni argillosi. Le lucciole invece è l'unica vigna che ho che è piantata su roccia. Per cui il Sangiovese è una varietà molto trasparente, si esprime in maniera piuttosto differente e io le tengo separate per questo motivo.
So far it's very, very successful. I'm happy that I was able to come.
If the event there will be also in future editions, I will for sure come back.
What Chiara is doing is trying to make the Sangiovese from Predappio well known everywhere and trying to share the history of this type of wine.
Yes, of course, sometimes it's tired, it's tough, sometimes I'm tired. I cannot imagine myself in another job or in another place than here. You are choosing to be a winemaker, so you are choosing a lifestyle. To me, wine is a passion, so I'm choosing to be a winemaker.